Hi, this is Ed Ronaldo with the Day in the Flow podcast. I'd like to welcome you to today's episode. We're going to be talking about the situation in the Suez Canal, about the ship that ran aground, the Evergreen, but more importantly, we're going to talk about how to become unstuck. When you're caught up in life and you're feeling stagnant, no purpose, no passion, and how you move forward, we're going to talk about that in this episode of the Day in the Flow podcast. I'll be right back. Hi, welcome back to the Day in the Flow podcast with your host Ed Ronaldo. Today we're talking about being stuck. Well, recently in the news, there was a very large container ship that got stuck in the Suez Canal. And if you guys don't know anything about the Suez Canal sits between the Mediterranean Sea and the Red Sea. And it's basically a man-made channel that connects. And what it does is for about 10% of the world's shipping goes through the Suez Canal. And the Suez Canal allows ships to come from Asia, India, the Far East, and go all the way to Europe to deliver goods without having to circumvent all the way around the tip of Africa, the Cape of Good Hope down in Cape Town. So basically what it does, it turns a 14-day trip into an 8 to 10-day trip, depending on the speed of the ship. So what I'm going to talk about today is what happened with the Evergreen. Well, the Evergreen is a 400-meter long container ship, or for those of us in the USA, 1,312 feet. It's a huge container ship that carries these sea-land containers, approximately 20,000 of them, so it's a massive ship. And as it was navigating its way through the Suez Canal, it ran aground. It was reported that there was a sandstorm and some wind and they lost control, but it ran aground. Because you got to think maybe 40 feet of that ship is underneath the waterline. So it ran aground, and for 6 days it blocked the Suez Canal at a cost of about $400 million per day, because no ships could come down and no ships could go up, because the ship was turned like at an angle, catty-cornered or diagonally, blocking the canal. So they brought out excavators and tugboats, and they worked feverishly because it cost about 6 to 10 billion with a B dollars a week for the Suez Canal to be blocked by this one container ship. So this was major problem, that this $8.3 billion ship was basically stopping 1/10 of the world's shipping from getting from China, India, the Far East to Europe, so it could be distributed and sold. Well, when I heard this story, I thought about how it relates to us, how the Evergreen saga relates to us in our lives and being stuck. You know, being stuck in life is, to me, I would define that as trying to find a purpose. You know, you feel as though I'm just running through this mundane life. I really don't have any focus. I don't have any purpose. You know, what am I doing here? You know, I'm going through the motions. I'm doing the same thing. I'm back on the rat race, the wheel. And, you know, as for me, living here in Southeast Asia, you know, you got a lot of idle times. And it says, you know, you try to find something to do. So what I did is, as I thought about this issue, I thought about the best place to start is the beginning. I think it's important you look at your roots, your origin. Where did you come from? Because that shapes and molds where you're going. You know, where are you from? What have you been through? How can your experiences help guide and benefit other people? You know, and then you ask yourself, what am I here to do? What is my purpose? And a lot of us have a hard time finding that purpose. You know, there's a great quote by Mark Twain that says the two most important days in your life is the day that you're born and the day you figure out why you were And I used to use this acronym for purpose, saying that your passion combined with your potential leads to limitless possibilities. Your passion, what is that one thing that you're willing to do that you would do for free? Is it writing, reading, singing? I mean, what is that passion that brings you joy that you're willing to do for free? And you combine that with your potential, your ability to be great, not average, but your ability to be great. And then that leads to limitless possibilities. And I'm going to give you sort of a roadmap on how to get there. You know, sometimes we feel as though we've lost our way, we've lost our direction. We don't quite know where we're headed in this life. And you find yourself stuck and unfulfilled, and you just don't quite know, where you're going. What am I doing here? And I think at that point is when you really need to look within yourself and find out what is missing and what do you need to do to fulfill that gap, to fill that void. And for me, I found that I felt better if I created a routine, and I talked about that in my video before, where I created a routine that was focused around the things that I enjoy doing. Playing golf, riding my bike, being with my dog, things of that nature. That's what I enjoy doing. And then I thought about, well, how can I turn around and fill someone else's glass? That helps make me feel fulfilled when I'm helping someone else. Thus this YouTube channel, volunteering wherever I can, just trying to be a maximum service to my fellow man. And I tried to figure out a more effective way to move positive and to be positive. And I also figured out that there were three major things that were obstacles to that. One was my ego that was telling me who I thought I was, how wonderful and great I was, and it wasn't real. The ego wasn't real. You use the acronym EGO, let it go. I had to let that go in order to move forward. And secondly, there was fear. What am I really doing? And I started projecting. I'm going to be an abject failure. I'm not just going to fail a little bit. I'm going to fail horribly. This is just a useless endeavor. But I had to get over that fear, because fear either stands for fear everything and run, or face everything and recover. And I decided to face everything and recover and move forward. And finally, the third thing was that I suffered from terminal uniqueness. I felt as though that my problems, me being stuck, me feeling stagnant and not being able to move forward, was just me. No one else in the world dealt with this except for Edward. I was the only person, and no one understood how I felt. And that's another reason behind my channel is I want you to understand that it's important that we share our experience, strength, and hope, because there's someone out there that can benefit for what you've been through. No matter how painful, how stagnant you might feel that is, there's someone out there who can benefit from your struggles, your challenges, and what you've been through. And the ultimate goal is to be of service to others. And you know what's beautiful? It's okay if you struggle. It's okay if you fail. Failure is the first attempt in learning. See, when the Evergreen, that huge ship, got blown off track, the same way that we get blown off track, we get sidetracked, life happens, and we find ourselves stuck in this monotonous way. We have to find a way to rejuvenate, to unstick ourselves, to get unstuck, to sit back and say, hey, listen, let me come up with goals, milestones, things that I want to accomplish in a certain time frame in a certain way. Like I told you before, I'm the Post-it note guy. My notes, my list that I have of the things that I want to accomplish that allow me through my routine, that develop into habits, that become the bridge between my strategy and the action I take to achieve my goals. It might take you a little while, but with some focus and some determination and finding who inspires you and what motivates you, that can help you get where you need to be. And that made me think about a great movie that I absolutely love, one of my favorite movies, Forrest Gump, that starred Tom Hanks. A classic movie. And there's a particular part of that movie that really, I feel, fits into being unstuck. And that part of the movie is when Forrest joins the military and he's in Vietnam and he meets Bubba. He meets his friend Bubba, and they become close friends. And Bubba starts talking about, you know, when I leave Vietnam, I'm gonna become a shrimp boat captain. They talk about fried shrimp and grilled shrimp and all of this, and it's really kind of funny, but it's extremely important because later on in the movie, they get ambushed and they're in a firefight, and it's chaos and people are being wounded and screaming and dying all around the place, but Forrest is separated from Bubba. And he's trying to find Bubba. So he runs back into enemy fire, disregarding his own well-being to try to find Bubba. That's his goal. That's his focus. I need to find Bubba. And, you know, in the process of doing that, he saves a bunch of other people. But he's still trying to find Bubba. And eventually he finds Bubba, but unfortunately Bubba is mortally wounded. And they have a conversation, and Bubba's dying declaration, he asks him, man, we still gonna do that shrimp boat and be a shrimp boat captain? And Forrest says, yeah, buddy, we're still gonna do the shrimp boat. And unfortunately, Bubba passes away. But Forrest remembered that, and after Forrest healed, and Forrest even won the highest military honor, the Medal of Honor, for his valor and his gallantry and his bravery. But what he did is he went to where Bubba was from and he bought a shrimp boat. And he went out there, even though he didn't know a damn thing about being a shrimp boat captain, he went and bought a shrimp boat and started fishing for shrimp. Now granted, when he first started, he didn't catch anything. Nothing. He failed. You know, as society would say. He failed, but he stuck with it. He kept on throwing his net out there. He kept casting his net until he just kept casting it no matter what. He didn't give up. He was motivated. He was inspired by the promise that he made to his dying friend. And it just so happens there's a huge storm while Forrest is out at sea, and all the other shrimp boats get destroyed except for Forrest. Now, Forrest is the only shrimp boat, and now his nets are overflowing with shrimp. He weathered the storm. And after he does this, the Bubba Gump Shrimp Company is a big success, and Forrest keeps his word. Forrest takes a check to Bubba's mom for Bubba's half of the company because he kept his word. And like my grandmother told me, the only thing a man has in this world is his word. And Forrest kept his word. So you're asking, what does Forrest Gump have to do with this? And I would offer this. You need to find your Bubba. You need to find what inspires you, what motivates you, what moves you, what drives you, what you won't ever quit on. He never quit on Bubba. He never gave up the motivation to fulfill the promise he made to him. Even before Bubba died in his arms, he ran back into enemy fire to find Bubba. What is your Bubba? What is that one thing that you're willing to do no matter what? No matter how many times you fall, you get back up. We need to discover what our Bubba is. Go out and find your Bubba, and that'll help you get unstuck, because that'll give you the motivation, the drive, the inspiration to get up and not just be average, not just be above average, but to be phenomenal. Because like my good friend Jay Sapphire told me, you had dreams before other people had opinions. And I always will be thankful to him for that, because it is so wise. You had your dreams, your ambitions, your goals before other people told you that you couldn't achieve them. Never stop dreaming. Always move forward and find your Bubba. The Evergreen got unstuck, and it weighs millions of pounds. You can get unstuck. Find your Bubba. Stay focused. Put your passion, combine it with your potential, and you'll achieve limitless possibilities. If you've gained something from this video, I will please ask you to click the subscribe button, hit the bell icon, and so you can get notifications, and give me a thumbs up and some feedback on whether this video did something for you. Again, this is Edwin Amba with the Day in the Flow video and podcast, and like I always say, I love you, and there's nothing you can do about it. Namaste.